You need to know that today's gospel narrative immediately follows the story of the Transfiguration in Mark's gospel. The revelation on the mountain, of Jesus in glory as he prepares to go to Jerusalem to fulfill the law and the prophets. When Jesus, Peter, James, and John rejoin those other disciples, a desperate father is pleading for his possessed son, whom the disciples have been powerless to help. Jesus interviews and encourages the father to have faith, eliciting his heart-wrenching cry, "I do believe. Help my unbelief." And after expelling the unclean spirit, Jesus meets in private with the disciples, shaken by their inability to command the spirit. And Jesus tells them this kind can only come out through prayer. The connection between this scene and the Transfiguration is probably significant. The closer Jesus is to fulfilling his mission, the more dramatic becomes the demonic opposition and the effort to undermine the faith of the disciples. This demon, who has had free hand in abusing the boy, is no ordinary spirit. We're reminded also in the Gospel of Luke that after tempting Jesus in the desert, Satan withdraws until an opportune time. Now is that time, and from now on, Jesus will encounter more and more opposition until his death on the cross. His disciples will retreat in fear, abandoning him, and one of them will betray him, and Peter, his chosen successor, will deny even knowing him. In his 2019 biography of Pope Francis, Wounded Shepherd, author Austin Ivory explores the Pope's acceptance that his role in the reform of the church will bring its own share of suffering and failure in imitation of Jesus. The deepest wounds he has encountered have come from within the church, from intransigence to change, plots embedded in a culture of clerical privilege and denial. Structural changes to force transparency and accountability will not be enough to root out the causes if the spirit of corruption is not confronted and driven out. For this, the Pope has focused on prayer. For these are not ordinary unclean spirits, but a profound and baleful show of evil that threatens to paralyze the church at a time when the world is facing its own crisis in leadership, in moral integrity, and in hope. The Word of God then comes to us at a time when this ominous shadow seems to hang over both our church and our nation. The forces of good seem scattered, while the threat of economic corruption and political paralysis tends to grow. Hope requires really more than an alignment of power or even changes in leadership, as long as the underlying values and principles are not renewed. The cost of this renewal is going to test all of us, and faith will need prayer to sustain us if we are to hear and to respond to the Spirit God is sending out over the whole world and into our hearts. Perhaps, like that man, we believe, help our unbelief. And remember Jesus' reply, everything is possible